Thank you for watching today's episode of The Food of London. Remember to subscribe and like our videos on YouTube, and to like and share our videos on Instagram and Facebook. When I'm guiding people around London, they sometimes ask me if there is much French influence on the city, particularly considering the rather fractious relations between us in the past. I'm always happy to show them the many ways that the French have made their mark on London. Granted, some things are a less flattering crossover than others, but the history of French influence on London is something that goes back many hundreds of years. Starting, perhaps unsurprisingly, with the arrival of William Duke of Normandy, or William the Conqueror, in 1066. This French-born invader took London from the rule of the Germanic Anglo-Saxons and changed it forever. Just a few months after his victory at the Battle of Hastings, William headed to Westminster Abbey, and on Christmas Day of 1066, this was where he was crowned King William I of England. The ceremony was conducted in both English and French, and when the French-speaking Normans and English-speaking Saxons inside the abbey shouted their approval of their new king, the soldiers outside the abbey thought the noise in the church was actually the sound of an assassination attempt on the new king. Panic ensued, and the soldiers outside started to set fire to the houses and buildings around the abbey. Smoke started to fill the church, and the congregation had to flee, and riots broke out outside. However, despite the chaos, William remained inside and completed the ceremony. Once successfully crowned, yet still a little wary after the events that had occurred during his coronation, William started to put his stamp across the country, one way of which was by building many castles. One you can still see in London today, known as the Tower of London. The oldest part of the tower is the central part, known as the White Tower, and this was built during the reign of William the Conqueror. Today, inside this magnificent building, you will find a fantastic display of suits of armour, some of which were owned and worn by past kings of England. Just north of the Tower of London is the area of Spitalfields, known today for its vibrant market and its coffee shop culture. Spitalfields has also always been a cultural melting pot, and in the 1700s it was the French Huguenots who made their mark on the area. The Huguenots were Protestant refugees who had fled religious persecution from their home country between the 16th and 18th centuries. They originated the term refugee and made a huge contribution to life in London and England. They also sat at the centre of London's silk trade, and if you explore the streets of the area today, you should spot these spindles, placed here to remind us of an industry that was once thriving in the area. However, not all Huguenots worked in the silk industry. Some had other trades. For example, a man called Jean Tijoux, who was an expert ironworker. It's believed he came to England in around 1689 and worked alongside his friend Christopher Wren to create beautiful ironwork designs in grand palaces such as Kensington Palace and Hampton Court Palace. His work was also called on at St Paul's Cathedral. Sadly, this harmonious relationship between the English and the French didn't last permanently, and in the early 19th century, England entered into the Napoleonic Wars. Here we see Nelson's column standing proud in London's Trafalgar Square. This commemorates one of the most notable battles during the Napoleonic Wars, and this was the Battle of Trafalgar. It took place in October of 1805 and saw the British Royal Navy fight against the combined fleets of French and Spanish navies until the French and Spanish were defeated, but also until sadly the English naval leader, Admiral Horatio Nelson, who is depicted on top of this column, had lost his life. Today, Nelson's column is a major tourist attraction, with many people sitting between the paws of the lions at its base for a picture. However, many don't realise that just behind them are these images or bas-reliefs, depicting 4 of Nelson's greatest victories and made from melted down guns captured from the French. Today there are still many nods to the French throughout London, from beautiful French paintings at the National Gallery, to Parisian-style nightclubs near Piccadilly Circus, to a French-inspired chain of London coffee shops. French food has always been very popular in London, and today we're going to be making a sandwich which first appeared on a Parisian menu in 1910, the Croque Madame.
So I thought the best thing to do, obviously, since doing a French recipe, is just take the plane to Paris.
Ha 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 ha! Fooled you again!
Good day, sensation seekers. Well, today we'll be attempting the Croque Madame, or Mrs. Crunchy, if you translate it from French. I'm actually going to do a slightly later version of this recipe. The original Croque Monsieur and Croque Madame wouldn't have contained the bechamel sauce. That's a later edition, but I think it's an improvement. So, the ingredients. So, today we need a little of olive oil, we need some milk, flour, nutmeg, a little bit of Dijon mustard, a bit of ham, an egg, 2 slices of white bread, it's got to be white bread, some grated cheese, and a little bit of butter. And like I said, you know, if you're in a restaurant and it's extra delicious, it's just got a ton of butter in it. So again, I'm afraid this isn't good if you're on a diet. So first of all, we lightly toast the bread. Now I can hear what you're going to say. Why do we toast the bread? I mean, it's going in the oven, isn't it? What's wrong with you? I mean, are you in league with the devil or something? No, the reason is it's Croque Madame, you know, crunchy. So unfortunately, I've had the experience in Paris even a couple of times of having a Croque Monsieur, Croque Madame that wasn't crunchy enough, especially on the inside. So we're just going to toast the bread. Oh, look who's arrived. You see him?
There's no fish in this recipe. I'm not interested.
So, first of all, we're just going to warm the milk. That'll make making our bechamel sauce just a little bit easier. Then we're going to just melt some butter. Nice big bit, there we go. Just going to melt some butter. This is to make the bechamel, and also we're going to use some of that to brush on our bread. We're not going to brown our butter, we just want it liquefying, so slow and steady, not too hot. And you can see the milk warming up nicely. So we're just going to take a little bit of our clarified butter, so brush the bread just on one side with the butter. So once we've done that, we're going to add our flour and we're going to make our roux. So once you've slowly whisked in the warm milk, you should get a nice smooth consistency like this. Now I'm going to add some grated cheese. Making it a Mornay sauce, I believe, isn't it? Cheese in there. Now there's several ways you can put this together, but I prefer it like this. Now we buttered the top sides, and now we're going to turn them over like this. And this first slice, we're going to put a nice thick layer of this nice bechamel on it. Look at that, lovely. Nice big layer. And on top of this, we're going to place our ham. And on top of the ham, some more cheese. There is a French cheese I like to use for this, but I can't remember what it is. And then we're going to, by the way, preheat the oven to gas mark 4. Side bechamel both sides. So bechamel on this side first, like this, over like that. There we go. And the rest, or as much as you can get the bechamel, goes on top. Yumski, and a little bit more cheese, just to finish things off. So the oven's had a chance to preheat, so we're going to pop it in. So we'll have a look at that in about 5 minutes. So as I said, the reason we put the sandwich in the oven is just so the inside gets warm as well, because it was all cold on the inside when I put it in there. So that should warm things up a bit. Let's get that in the oven and see how we are. So we pop the earth on top. Black pepper will be good. Again, nearly impossible with one hand. And let's eat.
Thank you for watching today's episode of The Food of London. Remember to subscribe and like our videos on YouTube, and to like and share our videos on Instagram and Facebook.